we have just finished up our 7th year of homeschool. We made it! We are so happy to be on summer break, and I just feel like now is the perfect time to sit down and assess how our last school year went so we can figure out what tweaks or changes we might want to make for the upcoming school year. Welcome to the Eclectic Homeschooler. My name's Erin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids ages 4 to 12. Today I thought it'd be fun to just kind of go back and do a little review of how our school year went and just talk about some of the things that worked well for us, some of the things that didn't work so well. I'm not necessarily going to be talking about like curriculum per se, but more kind of like the procedures and the methodology and just kind of how we've homeschooled and how that has worked for us this year. I believe that it is a great thing to just kind of assess where you've been and think about some of the things and the places where you want to go and figure out over the summer is a good time to kind of figure out how you can get yourself there, right? So let's talk through some of the things that worked well for us this school year. So at the beginning of the school year, I kind of had a couple of goals laid out for things that I really wanted to see accomplished by the end of this school year. And I knew that if I could just really focus on these couple of things that I knew at the end of the school year, that I would feel like we had a successful school year. And one of those things has been, sun's coming out. One of my boys has struggled with dyslexia, and this year has been the first year like over last summer that we actually realized that that's what he had been struggling with because he was having such a problem with his language arts type skills in multiple different areas. So for us this year, my biggest goal for everything in all of our homeschool was to get him more confident in his spelling and in his language skills. And that is something I am happy to report has worked really well. We have made some changes. We got a different spelling curriculum that worked really well for him, as well as right around January or February of this year, we started doing some online dyslexia tutoring for him where he had 1 hour a week where he had a session through a Zoom call with someone who knew how to teach this. Because for me, like, I just didn't understand how his brain wasn't connecting certain things. So I recognized that that was a place that I needed some outside assistance in. And we found a place that has worked great for him. We've seen tremendous benefits, like leaps and bounds. It has been so encouraging to see that change in him, and just in his own demeanor, his confidence is boosted and he feels better about himself. And we just got our test results back from our standardized testing that our state requires us to do every year. We just got those results back a couple of days ago, and he jumped up 4 grade levels from the last school year to now, because we really put a lot of emphasis on really focusing on his spelling ability and just some of those other basic language arts type skills. And so I'm very happy to say that I feel like our year has been successful, and in large part because we focused in on that area that we knew needed some improvement, and we got results. And so praise the Lord, that is moving along well. And we are going to continue for him doing the tutoring over the summer, I think, just so he doesn't lapse in that, and then we can kind of hit the ground running again in the fall and just continue on with the spelling curriculum that we switched to that has been working really well for him. The more that we've gotten into homeschooling, the more I've kind of learned to become a little bit more open-handed with how things go, because we started out trying to be super regimented and really strict with our scheduling and curriculum and all the checklists and all of those things, and that was just really overwhelming to me. And so I have like totally turned around, done a 180 from where we started, and this year I really have been kind of learning to let go and let God direct our homeschool and trust that his hand is in the process and that what we're doing is working. And so that is one thing that has been going well for us this year. I feel like I've gotten to a place where I actually feel comfortable with what we're doing. I trust our process. I trust the methods that we're using in our homeschool and how that's working. And now that we've been doing things the way we've been doing them for a couple of years and have kind of gotten into this like flow of how things work well for us, I've seen the fruit of that. And it's been amazing to be able to see where we've come from at the very beginning to where we are now, and the changes that have taken place, not only in myself, but in my kids too. And so that has been one thing that has continued to just kind of improve over this homeschool year, as I've learned more and more to trust the process, to embrace it, and to trust my kids to really take control more of the reins of their own education. I've become more and more passionate about letting our kids be involved in the process of learning and have some say in how things go and what they want to learn about. And the benefit of that has been tremendous in our own home. And I have seen my kids really just light up about so many different things that I never would have expected. And it has been a beautiful thing to watch that interest like come alive in them, and to just see them excited and passionate about learning and about sharing what they're learning with other people. Because in reality, we've homeschooled from the very beginning, right? So they've never been in the public school system where they've been around peers all day that have kind of like taught them that learning isn't cool. And so for them, learning is really cool and it's really fun and it's exciting. And I believe that that's the way kids were built. We were all built that way. We all want to learn and grow and improve ourselves. And when we give our kids the opportunity to take control a little bit more of their education, it's amazing how that fire gets lit and how it just keeps burning and they keep just growing and developing. And so that's something that I've been excited to see more of in our year this year. One of the other things that we've started doing this school year, and more in particular like the beginning of this calendar year, where I started really implementing a more kind of chart of the things that we want our kids to do for the week. And that has worked really, really well for us. I'll probably do a whole video about that for you this summer, in case you want to learn a little bit more about how we do that. But basically, I kind of have things laid out for our kids about how many assignments of each subject they're required to do for the week. And then they've taken a little bit more control themselves over when and how they do those things. And that has really been a huge benefit, especially for our oldest son. He's really taken to that and loved it and embraced it. And so that's been a fun thing that we kind of incorporated this year for the first time that has been working really well, that I'm going to continue next year. Another thing that has been great for us this year is that like right around the beginning of this calendar year, we found a homeschool co-op that's in our new community where we moved to last fall, and that has been a great fit for us to just be with some other homeschoolers in community again. We missed that the first semester of the school year, and so that has been really nice to kind of get back into that place of being able to build relationships with other homeschoolers for our kids, and for me as a homeschool mom to be able to build some friendships with other homeschool moms. The one that we've been doing, they go and they just have a class for 1 hour with kids of like a couple different grade levels are all together, and the lessons aren't like super highly academic. They are learning some things and doing that together, but a lot of it is more for that community building aspect, which for us at this particular stage of life has been really great because we are in a new town, and that has really allowed us the opportunity to meet people that we wouldn't have had the chance to meet otherwise. So that has been something that has gone really well for us this year too. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you have done or that you have seen in your homeschool year this year that has been a success point? Something that you feel proud of about something that you accomplished or something that your children did or relationships that you built. There can be any number of ways to judge your successes and your accomplishments, but it is so great, especially at this time of year, to focus on the things that went well, not just things that went bad, but what happened well that you can celebrate over the summer and just be proud of what you've done. Okay, so moving on to some of the things that didn't go as well for us this year. As much as I hate to admit it, I think that for me, one of the struggles has been my personal lack of patience and diligence in walking through things with my kids when conflict has come up. It has been a challenge and easy for me to just kind of have that knee-jerk reaction and disciplining bad behavior versus really getting to the heart issue of why our kids are reacting the way they're reacting, or treating their sibling the way they have, or talking to people the way that they have. So that is an area that I struggled with this year and that I recognize, and I feel like the Lord is finally leading me to a place where I feel like I can dig into that a little bit more, especially now over the summer. My big goal is to really focus on slowing down and really diving into those relationships with our kids versus just trying to get all of the things done, because I know that that's going to be a huge benefit later. And I've seen that when I've done it in the past, but it's definitely one of those things where I do really well for a while and then I kind of fall off the bandwagon and I get involved in what I'm doing and what, how things are going and how I feel about things versus like what's actually happening in our home right now. And so I'm hoping for me personally to improve through God's grace alone in getting through to the heart of my kids and the issues and the things that they're struggling with, as well as my own, and recognizing those triggers and things that, when we're sinned against, how we react in sin to those things. And so trying to work through why the motivation of the heart and how we can realign that with how the Lord wants us to be living our life, because as Christians we want to live our life in a way that is pleasing to Him, that points others to Christ. And so that's something that we're going to be working on over the summer and going forward forever, hopefully. Another thing that didn't go quite as well as I had hoped it would was to be doing some more pre-K type stuff with my 4-year-old. I had really hoped to get through more of the curriculum that we chose for her than we actually did. Definitely having multiple kids in multiple grade levels, the more you have, the harder it is to get to all of those things. And certainly much more of the effort goes to the older kids than the younger child. And so I feel like sometimes she probably got left behind just a little bit. And so that's something that I need to change for this next school year. She'll be going into kindergarten, but she's also like just turning 5 right before the school year starts. So I do know that, she being just 5 and kindergarten does not have to do much, but I do need to make sure I'm making more of an effort to be building into her and working with her as well. And fortunately, she is more and more excited to learn and has, even though we've finished our school year already and we've started summer break, she's pulled out her workbook and wanted to sit down and do some pages. So I know that she's going to do well, and I'm excited for working with her more over the summer and going into next school year for her first official school year as a kindergartner. I think I'd say that another thing that didn't go very well was a couple of the curriculum choices that we started off the school year with. Some of the language arts stuff we were using and math stuff, which are kind of like the big subjects, right? What we had been doing hadn't been getting us to where I felt we needed to go. And so partway through the year, we changed things up, and what we're doing now, I feel much more confident is going to kind of get us down to the end of where we need to go with our schooling. I've definitely found tremendous value in making that change when it's necessary, rather than just sticking with it to get it done, even though it's not working. The curriculum started out not working as well, but then realizing that it needed to be changed, and making that change is something that I can celebrate. I wish you a very blessed summer and a lot of fun taking some time off and just building time and relationships with your kids and your family. Thanks so much for spending the time watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button below, and I will see you next time. Bye.